All right, hey everybody, and welcome to Chiustream, where we talk about life, art, and life as an artist. I screwed this up last week or last time, and I just screwed it up again, but that's okay. It just means we're gonna have a really great stream. And for those of you that have never been on the stream before, this is interactive. You caught it live, so you can go to slido.com and ask your questions there. Or what you can do is you can go onto Discord and call us live. You can see that the Discord address is on the screen right now. So come on in. The water's warm. And I'd like to welcome two wonderful. What is that? That lower third is totally wrong. I gotta change that. But anyhow, I want to introduce my co-host, my co-host Xuan Chan on here. Hey Xuan, sorry, I'm
Hey
screwing
Bobby,
everything
hey
up.
everyone. Thanks for having me here.
Okay, fixed. Awesome. Now your name is on the screen. Sorry, John. Jonathan Hardesty, my buddy, was streaming last time, and so anyhow, and
I can be John. I'll be happy to be John. I mean, it's
right.
awesome.
Okay. So what is this one? This one is a stream all about punching laziness in the face. What I mean by that, I mean we all we all have this voice in our heads that are telling us, this lazy voice that's telling us, I don't want to get up. I don't want to draw. I want to, do something super unproductive. I want to just veg out and do nothing. And sometimes we know that that is not the right thing to do, and we need to get control of that voice. And we need to kind of just wrestle it down and smack it in the face, And that's what we're talking about here, motivating and punching that lazy voice in the face. So last time, I also wrote down some thoughts that I figured we could discuss. Okay, so before we get to the questions, let's get to some thoughts. First thought, the this thought is all about kind of like um, going autopilot and the power of autopilot. Don't overthink. There are things that we know we should do to get us to where we want to go. Stop thinking about it. Once you've decided, set your mind on autopilot and just go and do it. Any thoughts about that, Xuan?
Yeah, it kind of sounds like training or like discipline, right? I remember you telling me like, or maybe it was something I read online where you just don't think about the deed itself. For example, if you're going to the gym, don't think about going to the gym or the 20 presses you have to do. Think about first wearing the shoe. So I guess for us, it's like first pick up the pencil, do some loose sketches, and then it kind of goes autopilot. Do you think that's what kind of what you do?
I like where you're going with that. It's definitely a lot easier to think in these little micro steps of, like, instead of should I go to the gym, to
Mm-hmm.
think, let me put on my shoes, let me do this, let me do that. Yeah, that does sound like autopilot, but the main thing is, uh, once we come to a decision, stick with that decision. There's so many times where we come up with a decision, we start doing it. And everything is very logical to us at this point. We've really thought it through. And for some reason, that question will come up over and over again. Uh, you know, I don't know about this. Did we make the right decision? If we did the other decision, then blah, 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 blah. That's what I'm talking about. If we can't make any other decisions, just stick to that. There's a lot of power in sticking to that one decision and just proceeding. Right?
Mm-hmm.
That's what I was kind of getting at when I wrote that down. But yours absolutely has a lot of validity. I use that a lot to break through my laziness. It's like, okay, I don't want to draw right now. Okay, well, brain, let's just pick up a frickin' pencil. Can you do that? You know? Can you wiggle it around on the page and make some scratches? Right? And then look into those scratches. Do you see anything? Okay, can you draw for another 2 minutes? And that turns into 30 and turns
Mhm.
into 3 hours.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you ever have problems with that, Shwen? Do you ever have problems with the voice coming back and going, is this the right decision? Is that the right decision? When actually it doesn't make a difference at this point because you've committed.
Yeah, I don't even think it's about the voice going away. I think it never left. It's just about like being in the background or in the foreground, you know. And I guess the whole idea of focus would be that the more you focus, the more that voice kind of gets fuzzier and then kind of fades further and further into the background, but then it emerges now and then, right? But what we want to do is to mute that voice.
Yeah, totally. Um, yeah, so that was it. So let's go on to some questions. Also, if anybody is on Discord and wants to kind of talk to us live, by all means, you can join us. You can see the address on the screen. Okay, let's go to some Slido questions. We have a whole bunch. The first one is from Alex. Why? Alex says, what do you do when you want to charge or boost up your art skills first thing in the morning? Oh, yeah. I love this one. Um, we could totally get your answer right after this one. I want to know. But what I do is I leave sketchbooks all around my place now.
Mhm.
So I will always have a sketchbook somewhere. And yeah, I will just grab it, kind of like autopilot again. First thing in the morning, what do I do? I'm not going to think, should I do this? I'm just going to grab my sketchbook and start wiggling around some, lines and then, try to draw a little something for the first 5, 10, 20 minutes of your day. Even before you brush your teeth. That's generally what I do.
Aw.
So don't talk to me during my first sketch. You won't like it. Probably.
That's so interesting though, because do you think it's because like after a good night's rest, you kind of want to get the first thing that comes into your head,
Well,
like
also
fresh.
because what was it? There was a writer, Hemingway or something. I read that before he went to sleep, he would give his subconscious some activities to do, like figure out this
Mhm.
part of the story, figure out that part of the story. And when he wakes up, he would go, okay, brain, what did you come up with? And think about it. And a lot of times he found that his subconscious actually did do some stuff overnight and gave him a bunch of solutions. For me, it's like some good drawing ideas, right?
Mhm.
Think up some good drawing ideas, brain. And then the next morning, I'll go, okay, brain, what'd you figure out? And start drawing some stuff. And a lot of times, yeah, there's some really good ideas that'll come out.
That's so interesting. So do you ever compare like your day sketches, the ones that you get out right off the bed when you get off the bed, and those right before you go to bed? Is there like a difference?
Right before I go to bed, I'm not sure. Before I go to bed, I'm usually doing tasks that involve less creativity, rendering,
Mm-hmm.
um, repetitive tasks. The more
Mm-hmm.
creative tasks I leave for the beginning of the day. The first bunch of
Mm-hmm.
hours of your day are quite productive, I feel, and your brain should be generally fresh, right? So that's why you don't want to
Interesting.
waste time in the mornings. It's like, let's get on whatever is most important in your mind, the most creative, most difficult creative tasks. Get on those before you start looking on Facebook on the next fun thing or Instagram or Twitter or whatever it is. Let's do
Mm-hmm.
something
And
towards our
and
goals.
also you wake up at like 5 a.m. or like 4 a.m. at the crack of dawn or something as
It's
well.
still dark. Yeah, love it. Love it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's another one of, it's because I spent a lot of time, I still spend a lot of time. You have to keep spending time on controlling that autopilot. That autopilot is very powerful.
We
Okay.
have a new person in this
New
one.
person, just make sure that you're going to mute your YouTube if you come on to the stream. But welcome, welcome. And what's your name? Where are you from? And what's your question? Okay.
I think he's muting.
No problem. We'll
It,
come back
yeah.
whenever that person is ready. Let's go on to the next little blurb that I wrote down, okay? So the next one is the true measure of the true measure of success comes from the effort you put in. Now the reason I put this in here is because we for me, it's like I don't want to measure my success by stuff that is not in my control.
Mm-hmm.
How is life going to go if you're constantly measuring, whether you're doing good or not from stuff that isn't even in your control? That's not going to really help us because we will feel like we don't have control of our lives. We'll have a lot more stress this way. Uh, Concentrate on things that you can control, right?
Mm-hmm. That's really interesting, Bobby. So, I'm thinking like when you say that you're talking about like, for example, followers or likes or like, you know, reaction from people, people reacting to your paintings. Is that where you're going with that? Like,
Uh, well, those things you can control a little bit, so you control the things that you can control. So, followers or likes, you could try to put on stuff onto your social media that you feel people will like more or less or
mm-hmm.
whatever. Um, so, those things you do have control. This is okay. I wrote this down because I had some wonderful news yesterday, and I'm just mentioning this because you are asking for more in
Yeah,
depth
I
explanation.
want to know.
Okay,
Yeah.
so yesterday, uh, the show that I co created, Nico and the Sword of Light,
Oh yeah.
was nominated for an Annie Award, which in the animation industry, that's like the Oscars of animation. So, really excited, super excited. We're gonna head down for the award show on January 25th. But
Uh,
um,
yeah.
you know,
Congratulations.
thanks. That's how I feel already. I feel like I won. Because like I'm not going to measure my success from whether or not I win the award. If I win it, fantastic. That's amazing. But all I can really care
Mm-hmm.
about is putting in my best effort, right? And
Mm-hmm.
that's success.
Yeah, that's something you tell me a lot as well. To just put in your best, and then the rest, it's secondary.
Exactly, because, it's just going to stress us out. All right,
Yeah.
why don't we go on to some questions from uh, Slido here? Anonymous asks, how do you get your art seen by professionals and companies, and how do you go about applying to a job? So, two-part kind of question here. Um, Applying to a job, getting your art seen by professionals and companies. Well, one is for sure the internet. That's pretty simple, but how do you get them to see your stuff? You can't really tag them. That doesn't really work. That just annoys people. Um, you
Mhm.
could try to get it so good that everybody sees it. You're going to say something, Sean?
Yeah, I was just gonna say the simple answer is just come to Lightbox, but yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right? I mean,
Lightbox, holy smokes. It was like close to 10,000 individuals were, it was like over 90% were artists. Many of them were like the top artists in the world, are the top artists in the world, and top companies in the world, like, you know, uh, Netflix, Disney, Pixar, DreamWorks, Sony, you name it, they were there. Um, because a big part of why I created Lightbox, or I co-created Lightbox, uh, was because you can't. It's very difficult to get a job with a company or whatever uh, if you don't have any of face-to-face time. They don't know what kind
mhm.
of person you're like, especially if you want a job in their studio. it's almost imperative that you have a little bit of face-to-face time so they could see how you are and you could see how they are. But mostly so they can see how you are and they can see that you're not crazy, you're not a weirdo. That's a big part of it, right? So,
Yeah, there's just like more connection when it's something physical, when you can look into someone's eyes and communicate an idea versus something via the internet, right? I mean,
yeah, especially if some, studios have had uh, bad experiences in the past. Yikes.
yeah,
You know,
yeah, for sure.
yeah, I've had a few bad experiences in the past when I wasn't really looking as carefully. I didn't do my due diligence. I didn't really interview people too strictly. Um, I've had some bad experiences, and that made me be a lot more strict. And so now I want to know the person. I want to, at least like have a lunch with that person or something.
Mm, true.
So why don't we go to the next question here?
Yeah.
How do you get out of art block, Schwen? How do you do it?
Oh, I'm sure you get that question a lot, Bobby, but my answer would be I mean, I'm not sure how similar is it to yours, but I always have like lots and lots of photos and lots of screen caps, screen grabs, of films that I like or like art
Mm-hmm.
that I like. And then I have like huge volumes of it. And every time I have an art block, I just go to it. Or sometimes even when I'm walking or when I'm just talking to someone and an idea hits me, I write it down very quickly in my phone or my sketchbook. And there's just like a whole pool of ideas and things there. And even if it's like if I hit an art block and I'm not feeling like I want to paint that much or anything, I could even do a study, like a lighting study or a color palette study, and that always kind of helps me to go from there. What do you, what how do you tackle that, Bobby?
Those are all fantastic. I use every single one of those. Fantastic. I have been in positions where it's like I still was in an art block after all of that. And
Hmm.
how I got out of that was I took a class. When you
Oh
and
yeah.
this is the reason, because uh, of course everybody knows if you have more options, then that could be a very healthy, easy way to get out of art block. And how do you get more options? You learn some stuff, right? Have you
Mm.
ever learned anything and then you tried it out and you're like, oh, that's pretty cool. How can I apply this to my own art, right? Hopefully that's the
Mm-hmm.
question that you have. And once you have that question, wow, you just open up huge new opportunities, possibilities for your art. So that's exactly what I did. Every time I have an art block, I would just start taking another class, learn a bit, think about how I could apply this to my own art. And the best thing of all is a lot of times the art block stops you from doing any art at all because you don't have a good idea. If you're taking a class, you don't really need a good idea. You just do the assignment. And once you start
Mm-hmm.
moving, the pen around, the brush around, that kind of thing, you start using those artistic muscles in your brain, so to speak, quote unquote, uh, then you get into it. And once you start getting into it, then you start, getting on a roll. And before you know it, you're out of that art block. And of course, this plug is coming, Schwen. You know this plug is coming because we just plugged Lightbox. I gotta plug
Of
the biggest,
course. I mean,
baddest sale, on Schoolism that we have like twice a year. Right now, it's the winter sale.
yeah,
Check this out, everybody. You get over
pretty good
30
deal.
courses, nicely put together with assignments and everything, for a year with a Schoolism subscription. An annual Schoolism subscription usually is roughly $300. Now it's $100 off. So you can get an entire year access to all of the classes for 200 bucks. And there you go, I'm done. Okay, we can move on.
www.schoolism.com.
Yes, schoolism.com, it says it right there on the screen. Okay. And please tell your friends, because every year after the sale, we get inundated with a whole bunch of emails just saying, "Oh, I missed the sale. I didn't know about the sale." Help your friends out. Tell the other artists in your life if it's working for you. It really uh, is helpful for others to know that. Okay. Next.
Also, it's a great Christmas present as well.
Oh,
I mean, just say.
yes. Totally. Okay. So Jesus asks, how do you keep a humble mentality? That is a
Oh,
great question, right?
that
Because,
is a good
like,
question.
you do need a healthy balance of ego as well. You know, we all
Yeah.
start off painting and drawing really crappy. So we gotta believe that we are able to get better. We're able to get somewhat good. But then at the same time, yeah, we definitely want to stay humble, right?
Mm-hmm.
Shuen, I feel that Shuen is a person with too much humble pie in her.
Uh,
You're just way too humble, so I don't even know if you're capable of answering this question. Um,
I was gonna say that sounds like a Bobby question. Like you have so much more fame to deal with. You have so much more reputation to deal with. Like it's heavier for you. Yeah.
well, that's very nice of you to say. But yeah, the other big reason why, like, I probably am better at answering this question is because when I was little, growing up, this really
Mhm.
affected me. My parents would always, my mom would pick out everything that was wrong with my drawing every time. And my dad would not understand my art. He's still like our last dinner together. He's like, yeah, I don't know, like
What
why,
do you do?
how, why do you come up with these things? How do you come up with these things? Yeah. So, in other words, not very many like compliments. Um,
Hmm.
Growing up with my art, like there would be nice ones, but you can tell they're just really polite, kind of compliment. Oh, good job, dear, kind of thing. Um, yeah. So I've always been kind of like okay with my art. Uh, Staying humble, though, it's definitely being all about surrounding yourself with the right people. Uh, Something that I express to pretty much everybody that works here at my studio is that I really want the truth from them. You know, I will never be upset if they did anything wrong, if anything goes wrong, anything like that. Um, I want the truth, though. You know, so
Hmm.
that's been really helpful for me to stay humble because people will tell me all sorts of stuff that I don't necessarily want to hear, but I value very, very much.
Hmm.
So surround yourself with people that, look for those people that are about giving an honest opinion.
Hmm. That's like interesting because I was thinking like in the artistic sense, like it's very easy to just eat the humble pie when you go onto the internet, when you go onto social media and you just see like so many great artists out there and you compare. And I think like it's the other way around that's harder to do to get confident, you
But
know.
don't you think some people look at their art with kind of like through big Coca-Cola bottle glasses kind of thing, and they
Rose
don't
time.
see, yeah, they don't see the level that they're at, right?
Oh, that is true though. Yeah, I guess that's why you gotta surround yourself with like those critics that you were talking about, right? For those people then.
Yeah, especially for those people. Like, know yourself. I definitely met
Mm-hmm.
people where it's like they thought they're really incredible, really, really incredible, but I was looking at it going, oh, I don't really see that. Um,
Mm-hmm.
you know, very honestly, from kind of like a industry standard point of view, like I just don't see it. You're not there yet. You're on the cusp, maybe, or something like that. Anyhow, yeah, surround
Mm-hmm.
yourself with good people. Surround yourself with people that you know will motivate you. And that doesn't necessarily also mean that they are people that are gun ho about everything and they want to keep going, they're diehard. I actually am very motivated by lazier people. You know, I like dragging people with me. Like, let's go, everybody, let's go, let's do this. Uh, but actually, I like both. I like both. So,
Maybe that's because you're kind of used to leading, Bobby. You know, you've always been kind of like a leader kind of thing. So it actually motivates you when you lead.
I see. I feel like it's definitely helped. But when I was in school, I definitely remember being one of the last place students, right? Second last worst mark in the class, and then I'm telling the third worst student in the class, I'm telling them, "Let's go, let's do this, let's practice every day," and blah blah blah. Like that was kind of like a natural. I just yeah.
Instinct. Interesting.
Okay.
I wanted to say something.
Yes. Yes.
I found something interesting what you told me about your mother, and that she was very critical in your drawings, and you with me it's totally the opposite. My mom was always like raving about how cool
Ah.
they were, and I was very critical as a young one. I will always rip my drawings, and I'm still that way. I'm very critical, and that gave me art block sometimes if I get too much in my head, and
Mm,
uh, and the only thing what works for me, and I don't know if maybe works for other people, is going to workshops, because
Mm.
then I'm surrounding myself with other people and motivating and resetting my mind. So yeah.
Oh yeah, that sounds amazing, Patricia. And of course, yeah, that would be like the ultimate because you're learning stuff, then you're surrounding yourself with successful, awesome people. You're surrounding yourself with other people that are willing to travel to learn or to go somewhere, leave their homes to learn. All of a sudden,
mhm,
you're gonna get turbo boosted with an extreme amount of inspiration, motivation, creativity, everything. Love it. Okay, so I wrote down a couple other little bits and pieces here. If it's cool, I'll go on to the next one. So the next thing I wrote down was first or last place doesn't matter if you measure by how much effort you put in. Right? If it's 100% all the
mm,
time, good things will happen. Now, this is something that's very close to what I was just saying. The true measure of success comes from the effort you put in. I separated these ones because of the last line. If it's 100% all the time, good things will happen. You know, and
mhm.
that's something that anybody can poke holes in. Well, what about this person? This person tried all their lives and then they died a miserable death. I don't know. I'm just making, I'm just assuming that there's going to be a person out there. Uh, However, it, what's what's the difference? If you died, you kind of just you died. At least you put in your effort, believing in something. Um, and then if you don't die, you're going to do awesome. Eventually you will do awesome because every step that you keep going when other people have stopped, you start getting into a very small percentage of people. Now only 5% of people have gone where you've gone to because all the others faced rejection and stopped. Then you get more rejection and then you keep going and then all of a sudden you're part of the 1%, right? You get 5 rejections in a row. Now you're part of the 0.001% that just kept going. And something that I always believed is that if I can truly say to myself that I am willing to take 10 rejections, horrible rejections, not normal, like, oh, no, thank you rejections. I'm talking like, get out of my face. This is the ugliest thing, whatever. You should decide on a new career choice, this and that. If you can say to yourself, honestly, you know what? I am prepared. I am willing to take 10 of these from the same company or the same whatever. And every time I will come back different, evolved, coming back from a different angle, a different approach. If I'm willing to do that for 10 times with a big smile on my face, I guarantee you will not get to that 10th time. You will get
Mhm.
past that finish line before that 10th time. And if we're talking about our dreams here, isn't it worth it?
It's so worth it.
Right?
It's worth even more. Yeah.
So there we go.
We have one person on Discord. I don't know if you.
Hey, Discord person.
Hello, Bobby.
Juby.
Hi.
Hello. Hi.
Where are you
Yeah,
from?
my
And
name is Kofi Ofosu. I'm speaking from Ghana. I'm
amazing.
Oh
an
wow.
aspiring character designer.
Yes.
And my question is, I'll take you back a little bit. You mentioned in one of your earlier videos about how you and your team at Imaginism started your company by creating a lot of art books that
Yes.
you
Mhm.
Comic Con, and that's what broke you into the industry. And my question was, how did you guys have a system when you were creating these art books so that you always kept on task? And if so, could you share? Do you mind sharing that system?
Oh, a system. Yeah, I got lots of systems. I love organization, and thank you for your question. Um, so, number one is okay, to-do lists, right? You want to put in the dates that you know first. So perhaps that's Comic-Con. You start working your way backwards and going, okay, well, if I'm at Comic Con, or let's say Lightbox, because it's a little further down and then everybody has a little bit more time. So you're planning on having a book for Lightbox Expo, and so you go, okay, well, that's September 11th. That's when it starts. When would I want my books to arrive in LA, perhaps? Okay, well, then how long would I need for it to ship? For me to ship my books there? Okay, then how long would I need before? When would I need the books? And then so on and so forth. And then put a little buffer time on there as well to make sure that you have enough time. Then you have some due dates. After that, you start creating your to do list. And your to do list is really about the actions that you need to do to get to that goal, not the things that need to be accomplished. There's a difference. One, you can say, build a house. That doesn't tell you how you're going to build that house. So you want to put in the actions like, okay, first thing, shop for cement online, look for the best price. Okay, next thing, go to the store, buy cement, whatever. Uh, Micro actions, and all these micro actions, it's all about being able to finish them within one day very easily. So for coffee, you're not going to say, okay, I need to finish this art book by the certain time. You would have in your to-do list, I need to spend 60 minutes on this art book today. And the duration of time, I usually put it in as the minimum amount of time I want to spend on that project. So I can spend 2 hours on the book, even though I put in 1 hour, but I will have to spend at least 1 hour. And life gets funny sometimes. There's going to be all sorts of things in your way. So if at any point you can't finish that thing, that task for that day, you put a higher priority on it for the next day, and so on and so forth. Hope that
Awesome.
answers your question.
Thank you so much, Bobby.
You're absolutely
Yeah,
welcome.
yeah, that helps.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I
And Bobby, I just wanted to mention that I recently sent you an email thanking you, a thank you email. So I just
oh,
wanted to put that in.
yes, yes. Yes, I did
Yeah,
see it. I did see it. Thank you so much for writing in. Those are very encouraging words, and it's very much appreciated.
awesome, awesome. Likewise, thank you so much for your contribution to the community of artists. Have a lovely day.
You too.
So
Wonderful.
yeah.
This is so awesome. I like this Discord thing. Yeah, and if anybody else wants to join us on Discord, ask a question live, feel free. Okay, so next thing on here, next little thing that I wrote down is people that say they don't have skills are selling themselves short. They just haven't invested enough time into their craft. True or false?
Mm.
I think we can all kind of say this is true, right?
Yeah, yeah. It's not even really debatable. It's
Now, sometimes people put in that time, and they might put in that effort, but they're missing the logic part of it. They're not
yeah.
thinking hard enough about it.
Mhm.
I just wanted to kind of mention that because I have seen that before. It's a lot more rare, of course, but you can definitely see people that have tried the same thing for years and years and nothing's really changed. It's because of the method.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Like in that sense, in those cases, like I have a friend like that as well. Totally. Like it's been like 7 years I've seen him do art, but then you see his frustration and you kind of want to help him, but you're not sure what he's not getting because he's way more hardworking than a lot of other people I know. But I just sometimes think like if you can spend more time to just stop and think about it, like the logic part that you're talking about, versus like just going hardcore practicing all the way but blindly practicing, right? Like that's gonna yeah.
Yeah. I couldn't have said it better myself. Totally. Um, hey, when was your biggest kind of jumps in your evolution of art?
Mm.
Can you think of
Oh,
any? And then can you think of like why you think that was? Why do you think there was such a jump?
yeah, actually that's such a good question. Do you know yourself, Bobby? Like do you have like an
Yeah,
answer yourself?
yeah, I have a really, I for sure have a good one. It was, I just can't remember the DVD though. I want to give a big shout
Mm.
out to Nomon. You know, they used to
Mm.
produce these DVDs. I don't know if they produce them anymore. I don't even have a DVD
Mm.
player actually. But back in the day, that was the thing, is Nomon DVDs. Um, and there was a DVD on lighting, and I was in such a kind of panic because um, I was about to do this the test for the first Tim Burton Alice in Wonderland movie,
Right.
and it's a live action movie. I've never done live action before, and it's like, okay, you got to paint photo real. How do you do that? So I got this DVD. Um, Man, it was such a long time ago. I don't remember. For the life of me, I do not remember what the DVD was. I'm sorry, but
Mm.
that really helped. Another huge one, of course, is like every schoolism class I've taken. Uh, Daisatsume Robert Kondo, if you want to learn how to paint realistic, wow, that's a course. But then there's a
Yeah.
whole bunch of other really great ones as well. Sam Nielsen and so on and so forth.
Yeah, that's so interesting because I was just gonna say for me, I mean I work for schoolism, but so I might be biased, but that's the reason why I work for schoolism, right? Because it kind of changed my art. Like I remember I threw away my whole entire portfolio after I took business science class. That was like an upheaval. It was crazy. I just like it was such a huge jump. Like it was such a huge jump that
I
my
remember
mom
that.
from right? Yeah. Yeah, like from saying like, "Oh, okay, I guess you're gonna do that," to like, "You painted that," you know? So
Wow. She's also
yeah,
all of a sudden like a new level of belief in you.
yeah, exactly. She was like, "You mean you did this? Like how?" And I was like, "Oh, I just took this class. Remember, I was taking this class that was on schoolism." So yeah, the first one was Jason Silas' class on schoolism, and then the second one where I saw like another jump in terms of understanding or things that I feel like I can approach now. It's also the same as you, Bobby. Dyson Roberts' class.
Mm. Yeah, I do
Yeah.
have to say, like Jason's class, it, the most evolution I've seen in an artist's work is from Jason's
Mhm.
class, actually. Gigantic
Mm.
jumps, gigantic.
Mhm.
Anyhow, we have another person in the Discord here. We got Megan here,
Magic.
so uh, yeah, if you want to ask a question or something,
Hiya.
I
Um, Yeah, so I am a student. I'm currently studying in London, and I was just wondering, kind of, how does kind of so I'm 20, just to give a
Hmm.
kind of
Mhm.
age reference. How like do new artists kind of come into the industry? Like, how would you like any advice, basically?
Yeah. Um, so, well, for sure, one thing, Megan, is that there's plenty of room. The water's warm. Come on in. Uh, Second thing is that a lot of times, I remember when I was starting off as an artist, I was thinking, there's all these other artists that are better than me or whatever, have more experience than me. But there's one thing that you have that all those other artists don't have, Megan, which is that you are still young enough to remember how it is to love cartoons as a little kid,
Yeah,
Mhm.
definitely.
right? And you could pick up on these things. With every disadvantage we think we have, there's plenty of other advantages out there. You could be the new wave of character designers. But we do want to, answer your question. How would I go about doing it? And really see, okay, my whole entire career, I am an artist, but I keep doing all these other things that support artists, like schoolism,
Mhm.
like these traveling workshops, like Lightbox Expo. And the reason that I do them, because I still work in film, I still work in games, I still do all that stuff, is because I love the art community. Those are my people. That is my community.
Mhm.
So I would say go to Lightbox because that is one of the big reasons I created Lightbox was so that we could have a place where we all gather together. And if you're hot, if your art is hot, then bring it there. People will notice and you will be seen. Another big part of Lightbox is that I know about that whole issue. I live in Toronto. How do I get a step in the industry if I don't know anybody in LA and this and that? Well,
Yeah, I mean, I'm from London, so even further away. So
yeah, exactly. So with Lightbox, all the attendees, all the exhibitors, speakers, everybody is encouraged to create a profile on our artist database. And then all the sponsors get access to the artist database, uh, days before the event starts so that they can look at everybody's portfolios and start to arrange meetup times so that they can have a little face to face and get to know you because that's a hugely important part. And so that is kind of like an easy solution to your question there. How do you kind
yeah,
of get started, right?
yeah, sounds like great. And then I just wanted to say thank you as well because I've recently started taking gesture drawing with Alex Wu
Oh, right.
on schoolism, and the interaction that your Instagram has with, posting stuff. Like one of my drawings got shared by your page, and it's just such a big boost in just confidence. So I just wanted to say like thank you so much.
Oh, fantastic, Megan. Congratulations. That's great. And, Alex is one of the few, like a handful of people that I've ever taught at Pixar, which is pretty awesome.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you for answering my questions.
You're welcome, Megan. Good luck with your school year.
Thank you.
Mhm.
All right, so that was a huge schoolism commercial. I apologize, but um, I believe in it. That's exactly why it's there. It's for me as much as it is for everybody else. Why don't we go to another question here?
Oh,
So,
there's someone on the line, Bobby.
oh, okay.
Celine.
Yeah.
Hi, Celine.
Hi. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yeah, loud and clear. Yeah.
Um, well, first, I'm glad to be on this stream. It's awesome to be able to talk to you guys.
Yeah, welcome.
Um, so I'm a student as well. I'm actually 20 years old too, and I'm a student.
Everybody's so young.
Um,
Everybody's 20. Wow.
and basically, I'm at art school, but I'm not really satisfied with the education I'm being given. and because we don't have a lot of fundamental classes like schoolism can offer us.
Right,
And
right.
the professors I have are not real professionals, and they don't give us any demonstrations and
Oh,
don't get
yikes.
any feedback. So what I'm trying to do is I'm basically taking schoolism classes on top of my school assignments and to learn the fundamentals on my own. But I really struggle with the time because I need to hand in those assignments that are not really useful. At the same time, I know that I need to be studying those important things that I don't get to learn at school. So I'm a bit lost right now about what I should be focusing on in order to improve and be efficient, even while at art school, basically.
Okay, so Celine, thank you for your question. I'm gonna give you probably a kind of controversial answer. Okay,
Okay.
number one is your diploma, your certificate, whatever, it does not show your grades. A C diploma is just as good as an A diploma. Okay, and how I went about it in school, and this is just my way, but I'll tell you the reasoning, I'm sure you'll figure it out, is that the classes that I thought were not so hot, I aimed for a passing grade. And the classes that I thought I could really learn something from, I didn't just, spend a lot of time and effort. I would go to other people's versions of that class. I would just try to get into that class and learn the same lesson 3 times in a row and really try to do my very, very best. So it was like my report card in the end was nothing but like A pluses and C's. Uh, I don't know if that's the best advice in the world, you know what I mean? But that's how I would do it again, because nobody sees what kind of grade you got. And what does it matter if you get a really good grade because you taped everything down very precisely or draw very straight lines? Like nobody, you know what I mean? That's not,
Yeah.
yeah. And it breaks my heart to hear that instructors are not doing demos or instructors are not professionals yet they teach, because having a bad teacher is worse than having no teacher at all sometimes.
That is
They could
so
steer you
true.
the wrong way. They could have you believe in something or not believe in something that you should totally believe in because you could totally do it. But instead they say, character designer, oh, you shouldn't go for character designer. There's not that many spots and there's lots of people that are better than you. Oh, art director, environment artist. I would aim for something lower. Don't. I wouldn't. I would think for yourself and constantly think for yourself. Listen to all their everything that everybody has to say, but rethink it all the time.
Yeah.
Lovely to have you on the stream, Celine. Thank you for your
Yeah.
question.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, wow. Education in some places, what a mess.
Yeah. It
There's
really is.
another person.
Yes, we have another person on the stream.
Okay. Bye, guys. Thank you very much.
Bye, Celine.
Bye. Hello,
Hello.
Raisin.
Raisin
Hi.
Tree.
You can just call me Hannah. That's my real name.
What was your real name?
Hannah?
Hannah.
Hannah.
Okay, hi Hannah. Where are you
Hi,
from
Hannah.
and what's your question?
I'm from North Carolina. 17 years old. Recently in October, I dropped out of public school because of my mental health problems.
Uh-huh.
Uh, and I trying to work on art at home is a little hard. Like I know I have so much free time, but it's like I guess I don't. I tend to procrastinate a lot, and and then there's depression that gets not being able to socialize a lot. But that's not my question. So let me just get on my question.
Oh, okay, sure.
Uh, I have two questions. Is that Hello?
Oh,
Hello? Yeah.
hi. Hi, yeah, you got cut off a little bit, but
I have 2 questions. Is that fine?
Yeah, sure.
yeah, of course.
So, one of the questions is that I remember, like, beginning of this year, my New Year's resolution was to learn and get better at anatomy and in value. And I'm learning to get better at value in your schoolism class. Jonathan Hart main understanding and manipulating realism, but
Mm,
for anatomy, I just didn't know like what to do without any professional help. Like I'm just a young artist that doesn't really know where to start,
Mm-hmm.
what things I need to fix, the bad habits that I created that need to be fixed, and I just didn't know what to do. So like, my question is like, how do you study from like masterwork, without any professional help?
Well, it's all about trying to figure out what was going on inside their heads. So, one of the best ways to study masterworks is some masterworks has they have the final painting or the final piece, but you can also find the reference that they used, some sketches that they did beforehand. Those tell so much more about what went on inside the person's head. Um, you know, when they were making the image. The the other big part about it is if you are doing master studies to better your anatomy, that's a great idea. What I would do is I would set it up so I have my master study, and then I have some diagrams about the human anatomy, right? And try to draw the master study skinned from, take off the skin and just draw the muscles. That was how I learned. I learned from having both the anatomy books with not necessarily even master studies, sometimes master studies because you can see muscles a lot clearer. And then sometimes I just do it from photos and try to draw the person posed there as all muscles and bones. This way you're not just learning muscles and bones from the anatomy book, but you're learning how to apply them to something that you're seeing in real life. Also, last one is Proco. He has an awesome YouTube channel where he explains a lot about anatomy.
mm.
Anything you want to add to that, Sean?
Yeah, just something comes to mind. I remember Ian McCaig saying that he had the same problem as you, Hannah, that he didn't know where to start. He just wanted to study anatomy, and he got Andrew Loomis's book, Andrew Loomis,
Mm.
and he copied all of them, and then he started drawing from life after that, based on what he learned from Andrew Loomis, and then that's how he learned anatomy. In case that kind of works for you as well, I just want to put it out there. Yeah.
Yeah, I drew every single page, as well as
Yeah.
his daughter Mishi. I heard that she
Yeah.
drew every single page as well.
Hmm.
Yeah. Anyhow, we're just about out of time. So I want to thank, of course, our wonderful audience for showing up. And definitely, if you're interested in art, check out the Schoolism subscription. Like I said, it's a huge sale. You are saving $100 off. So it's not $300 for an entire year of education, it's $200. Can't really go wrong with that. And of course, I want to thank Patricia for managing the Discord today. Thank you, Patricia.
Always
Thanks.
happy to be here.
And my wonderful co host, Shwen. Thank you, Shwen. It's always a
Hey,
pleasure.
thanks for having me.
All right, don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye, everybody.
Bye, everyone.